All right, being 7 o'clock, we'll call the common council meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, roll call has been taken.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, adoption of the agenda.
So move, Your Honor.
Motion made by Mr. Barrington.
Second.
We got a second by Mr. Beesaw. Any additions or corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried by all. Approval of 11/14/2023 Common Council meeting and 11/28/2023 Special Common Council minutes.
Make that motion.
Motion made by Mr. Beesaw,
Second.
second by Mr. Hess. Any additions or corrections to either of them? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's carried as well. Mr. Dorsey, authorization to pay the bills.
Mr. Honor, make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $1,167,327.52.
Motion made by Mr. Dorsey,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Crochet. Any additions or corrections? Please cast your ballots. That vote carried 10-0. Mr. Dorsey, I'm moving right along. Public comment. Public comment. Hearing no public comment, we'll continue on. Standing and special committees. Board of Public Works, Mr. Hess.
Thank you, Your Honor. Board of Public Works met on Monday, December 4th. Meeting was called to order at 5:15. After the pledge of allegiance, there was no change in the agenda. Motion made and seconded to adopt the agenda. Motion carried by all. There was no public input. Wastewater treatment plant updates. Wastewater notes were included in the packet. Discussion on downtown parking. Director Garsky introduced the Chief of Police, Jeff Schleter, to address the committee on his findings and current enforcement and thoughts related to the downtown overnight parking concerns. Chief Schleter recommended 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. no parking or by permit only. It would be the easiest system to enforce. Director Garsky also recommended a 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. parking ban on all city parking lots and a permitted assigned parking area for overnight parking. The system of assigned designated parking style spots would be offered to the downtown residents with an annual fee and a small hanging placard. Additional recommendation is to encourage employees to park in parking lots rather than on the street, allowing patrons to have closer access to business. Further comments and questions took place, but no actions were made or vote taken. Next was approve and recommend to council license agreement between Amcor and the city of New London for installation of pedestrian crossing signs on High Street. Director Garsky advised the committee that Amcor approached the city regarding placement of solar powered pedestrian crossing signs on High Street for employee safety. They would be located at 5 locations and the placement of them would be in the city right away. It was recommended by legal counsel to have an agreement drawn up not to hold the city of New London liable or responsible for any injury or damage done related to the crossing signs. Motion made and seconded to approve and recommend to council licensing agreement between Amcor and the city of New London for installation of pedestrian crossing signs on High Street. Motion carried by all. Approve and recommend to council regulatory sign resolution. Director Garsky brought to committee a designated locations of placements of stop signs are needed with the new parking lot exits. The resolution also included a location on River Road where it intersects with the railroad tracks. A yield sign would be replaced by a stop sign at the crossing. Motion made and second to approve to council a regulatory sign agreement. Motion carried by all. Director's report. The director's memo is included in the packet and is reviewed by the board. Anniversaries, Don Goodrow, street operator, 18 years of service, December 5th. Chris Clark, admin assistant and deputy elections clerk, 1 year of service, December 5th. 2023 projects are done. Reviewing snow plow policy on residents placing snow in the roadway after plow has passed. Finishing leaf collection, fall leaf collection pickup, delays due to equipment breakdown. Feature agenda items, discussion about large item disposal services and the downtown parking fee. Date and time of the next Public Works meeting to immediately follow up the Park and Rec Committee on January 2nd, 2024. There be no further action. Motion made a second to adjourn the meeting at 6:14. Motion carried by all. I'd like to make a motion to approve the license agreement with Amcor for installation of pedestrian crossing.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Mr. Hess, second by Mr. Ritchie. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballot. The motion's carried 10-0.
I'd like to make a motion for approval of regulatory sign resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Hess, second by Mr. Herter. Approval of regulatory sign resolution. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. That motion carried 10-0 as well.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Hess. Finance and personnel, Mr. Dorsey.
Yes, Your Honor, the Finance Personnel Committee met Wednesday, December 6th at 5:15. Motion was made by Visa, second by Barrington to approve the agenda. Motion was made by Robert, second by Pache to approve the October 4th and November 8th meeting minutes. We had some discussion concerning a claim against the city. Motion was made by Robert, second by Visa to recommend a council denial of the claim. We discussed a resolution to reimburse expenditures from proceeds of borrowing for Oshkosh Street. Purpose of this resolution is to allow the city to spend money on Oshkosh Street project prior to borrowing the money and pay back those dollars from the borrowing once the borrowing has been completed. We discussed Financial Director Adke's monthly finance reports, also our director's report. There'll be no further business. Be adjourned at 5:35. Make a motion to approve the monthly license list. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Dorsey, second by Mr. Robert for monthly license list. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's carried by all.
Also make a motion to deny the claim request. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Dorsey, seconded by Mr. Roberts for denial of a claim request. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. Mr. Herder. That motion's carried 10-0 as well.
Also make a motion declaring the official intent to reimburse expenditures from proceeds of borrowing Oshkosh Street. Second.
Motion made by Mr. Dorsey, second by Ms. Magowski. Any further discussion on that? Please cast your ballots. That motion carries 10-0 as well.
And that is all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. Park and Recreation, Mr. Bisa.
There was no December Park and Rec meeting, but I look for approval of an ordinance changing requirements to outdoor music events, second reading.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Bisa, second by Mr. Dorsey. For approval of the ordinance changing requirements for outdoor music events, second reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please cast your ballots. That motion's carried 10-0.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Beasaw. Planning Commission, Mr. Ritchie.
We had no meeting in November.
Thank you,
Your
Mr.
Honor.
Ritchie. Economic Development Committee, Mr. Roberts.
Economic Development Committee met November 28th, 2023. Roll call was taken. Minutes were approved. Video and marketing producer Trista Taylor reviewed several updated designs for the city's billboard on Highway 45. Discussion revolved around which design to choose. Thompson motioned to change the city's billboard with the design option number 2, second by Dorsey. During discussion, Horth pointed out that the motion should include verbiage recommending the council fund the new billboard advertisement using designated funds from the economic development assigned fund balance. Bishop motioned to amend the original motion to change the city's Highway 45 billboard with design option number 2 using designated funds from the economic development assigned fund balance, second by Dorsey. The amendment of the motion carried by all. The amended motion to change the city's billboard with design number 2 using designated funds from the economic development assigned fund balance was voted on by the committee and carried by all. A document providing guidelines for selling industrial property in the Northeast Business Park was reviewed. Horth clarified that the document intended purpose was not necessarily to serve as a policy, but to offer guidance to the city administrator during negotiations for the sale of the land for a new development. Suggestions were changes were provided by the committee, and Horth will update the document to review at the next meeting. Chairman Roberts led a discussion and provided information to inspire committee members to explore ideas for creating future economic development strategies and projects. Several suggestions were provided to initiate the thought process, and Roberts requested committee members contribute up to 3 ideas to discuss during the next meeting. Chamber Director Business Report. MK Flooring will be moving their showroom to 106 West North Water Street on December 3rd. The owners will be considering to remodel the old MK flooring location at 310 West North Water Street to a new gathering venue with a wine craft beer bar and market. The property manager for 106, 108, and 110 North Water Street reports that all vacant storefronts have recently been rented and will be opening soon. The new strip mall next to the Subway restaurant has 2 remaining open spots for rent. Fire Fitness will be permanently closing their business the week of November 29th. Family Dollar's lease will be up in March of 2024 and moving out, leaving Hong Kong Buffet and US Cellular, the remaining businesses in the Wolf River Plaza building. City Administrator's report. Horth reported that an RFP was released to solicit proposals from consultants to assist the city in rewriting the city's zoning code. The deadline for proposals is December 20th. This will assist the city in evaluating new zoning codes that could potentially support future housing developments. Future agenda items were discussed. The committee will not hold a meeting in December. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, January 30th, 2024. It was moved to adjourn at 6:11, carried by all. That is all I have here. Oh no, actually, 1 second. I would like to make a motion to approve of changing city billboards with design option number 2 using designated funds from the economic development assigned fund balance not to exceed $4,000.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Roberts, second by Mr. Dorsey for approval of changing city billboard with design option number 2 using designated funds from the economic development assigned fund balance not to exceed $4,000. Any other discussion? Please cast your ballot. That motion's carried 10-0.
That is all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. All right, next on the agenda is Capital Projects and Equipments Committee that is led and chaired by Mr. Hess.
Thank you, Your Honor. Capital Equipment and Projects Committee met Wednesday, December sixth. Meeting was called to order at 5:37. Motion made and was second to adopt the agenda. Motion carried by all. Benjamin Wall Jasper with Enterprise Fleet Management Incorporated gave a presentation on the government leasing program. This program takes advantages of the ability to sell the vehicles at optimal time to take advantage of resale value, allowing for additional revenue to drive down the net cost of the lease. Although there is a listing mileage on the vehicle, there will be no penalties for going over a stated mileage. The city is able to get out of the program at any time by paying the vehicle through the lease obligation. Staff recommended the 4 vehicles earmarked for the lease vehicle program, as they were lower use vehicles and would allow the city to see how the city could take advantage of the program and then possibly expand the vehicles in the program. There was a number of questions from the committee for Mr. Wall Jasper, and the committee then thanked him for his time. Radke called upon to review the 2024 2033 capital equipment and project schedule. Radke said the city staff department heads met to discuss priority needs on the list that may have to go out to bid or ordered prior to 2024. Nothing can be paid until 2024 for the best interests of the city due to pricing or lead times. Remaining items will be discussed in February. Radke highlighted that the recommendations by staff are priority items, but stated council or committee could state their priority items as well. The following motions were made. Motion made and seconded for the approval of the enterprise fleet lease estimated cost $16,000. Motion carried 10-1, Roberts against. Motion made and seconded for council for the approval of the loader plow and wing estimated cost of $58,000. Motion carried by all. Motion made and seconded to recommend to council the approval of a brine storage tank estimated cost of $105,000. Motion carried by all. Motion made and second or recommend to council the replacement of the 1967 Layton roller used estimate cost of $65,000. Motion carried by all. Motion made and seconded to recommend to council the approval to replace the 2016 Toro 5100D batwing mower estimated cost of $130,000. Motion carried by all. Motion made and seconded to recommend to council approval of the replacement of 2 police cars at an estimated cost of $100,000. Motion carried by all. Motion was made and seconded to recommend to council approval of the police department air conditioner estimated cost of $42,650. Motion carried by all. Motion made and seconded to recommend to council approval of the computer firewall and microfiche upgrades, estimated cost $12,000. Motion made and carried by all. Motion made and seconded to recommend to council approval of the street and sidewalk patching program in the amount of $25,000 each, or $50,000 total. Motion made and carried by all. The next capital equipment and projects committee will be on February 2nd, 2024, immediately following the finance committee meeting. Motion made and was seconded to adjourn. I'd like to make a motion to approve the enterprise fleet lease program, estimated cost of $16,000.
Second that motion.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Ritchie. to approval of the enterprise fleet lease estimated cost of $16,000. Any further discussion?
I have some questions I'd like. Could we have a little bit more information on who has access to these vehicles, what their purpose are? And that's like a approximate, how many miles they're being used a year?
Mr. Hertz, would you like to take that, please?
Yep, I mean, as a report, I don't know if I have everything at my fingertips, but the vehicles are used for administration. So the 4 vehicles that are on the list are a general training vehicle, police department, staff uses it for, going around and training. Another one is used by our building inspector, going around doing building inspection. Another one is used by our public works director for going around doing operations and checking out, projects and things in the city. And then the 4th one is used by our rec department, going around rec programs, park, and it is also shared by our parks and rec director. So that's a, dual vehicle is shared as well. Miles on each vehicle, I don't have that in front of me, obviously right now, but they're not, high mileage vehicles by any means. I mean, Robert, would you guess that we're between 5,000 and 10,000 a year maximum?
I would say maximum of 10,000, more likely around that 5,000 mile mark a year.
And did you have another question?
Are they parked at the city then overnight or are they taken home?
Nope, they are
Yes.
parked here at the city, in the back parking lot here.
So $30,000 a year for brand new vehicles that only get used $5,000 or 5,000 miles a year. I just didn't know if that was such a great use for taxpayer dollars. They're given police vehicles for free and the maintenance would never be as much as 30,000 a year. So that's all I have to say about that one.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Please cast your ballot. McGuffey. That motion's carried, 9 yes, 1 no.
Like to make a motion for approval of the replacement of the loader, plow and wing, estimated cost of $58,000.
Second. Motion made and seconded by Mr. Herder for approval of replacement of the loader, plow and wing, estimated cost $58,000. Any discussion? Please cast your ballots. That motion's carried 10-0. Mr. Dorsey?
Is there a typo on the next one before we
Yes.
make a motion?
That's,
Just
I thought that myself, but
Okay,
I looked at it in both locations and it was the same.
So line 4, the corrected amount is 10,500.
That's what I thought myself. Thanks for catching that, Mr. Dorsey. I thought myself, I'm like, I didn't think that was what we talked about. Okay. I'd like to make a motion for approval of the brine storage tank purchase, estimated cost of $10,500.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Ritchie. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. That motion's carried 10-0.
Like to make a motion for approval of the replacement of the 1967 Leighton roller, estimated cost of $65,000 used.
Second.
That motion has been made and seconded by Mr. Herder for approval of the replacement of a 1967 Leighton roller, estimated cost of $65,000 used. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. That motion's carried 10-0 as well.
I'd like to make a motion for approval replacement of the 2016 Toro 5100D Batwing mower, estimated cost of $130,000.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Ms. Magowski for approval of replacement of the 2016 Toro 5100D Batwing mower, estimated cost $130,000. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballot. That motion's carried 10-0.
I'd like to make a motion for approval of replacement of 2 police cars at an estimated cost of $100,000.
Second.
That motion's been made, seconded by Mr. Herter for approval of replacement of 2 police cars at an estimated cost of $100,000. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. The motion carries 10-0.
Like to make a motion for approval of the police department air conditioner. Estimated cost of $42,650.
Motion's been made and seconded by Mr. Ritchie for approval of police department air conditioner. Estimated cost $42,650. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. That motion's carried 10-0.
Like to make a motion to approval of the firewall and microfiche upgrade. Estimated cost of $12,000.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Ms. Magowski for approval of firewall and fish upgrade. Estimated cost at $12,000. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. The motion's carried 10-0.
Like to make a motion for approval of the street and sidewalk patching program. $25,000 each, $50,000 total.
Second.
That motion has been made and seconded by Mr. Herter for approval of street and sidewalk patching program of $25,000 each, $50,000 total. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballots. That motion's carried 10-0.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. House. I'd also like to say thank you to all the department heads that put in the time and effort to bring this to us and tell us their needs. Thank you. All right, moving along. Minutes and reports distributed will stand as read in your packets. Reports of officers and recent events and announcements to the public. We'll start off with the mayor's report. I would like to say thank you to all the monthly staff anniversaries for your service to the city. I'd also like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a very safe and Happy New Year's. For the mayor, that's all I have today. We'll move right into the administrator's report.
I actually have nothing to report on as well, and also wish everyone a happy and safe holiday season.
Thank you, Mr. Hurst. Chief of Police, Mr. Schleter.
Thank you, Your Honor. We had one anniversary, Ben Keach, 1 year, and that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Schleter. Director of Public Works, Mr. Garsky.
Thank you, Your Honor. For property owners that had their sanitary laterals replaced this year in the construction area of North Water Street, State Street, Lincoln Court, and St. John's Place, your assessments with instruction sheet on payment will start to go out next week. And starting January 1st, the yard waste drop-off site will require a key card to get in the gate and an annual sticker to display in the lower driver's side front windshield. The cost will be a one-time charge of $5 for the key card and an annual fee of $5 for the window sticker. These can be purchased starting Thursday, the 21st at the Public Works window located at the Municipal Service Building West entrance. Make sure to bring proof of residency of the City of New London or the Town of Muckwa. And that is all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Garsky. Director of Park and Rec, Ms. Sol.
Thank you, Your Honor. With the holiday break with the school kids out, next week we'll have a couple special programs. The Aquatic and Fitness Center has some open swims every day from 1:15 to 3:30. So join them down there. You can go for a swim, or there's also special open gym time. So you'll have to go online, excuse me, and check those dates and times out on our website at www.newlondonwi.org. And then also we have a babysitting class coming up on January 19th that you can register by calling our office or going online. And then also our winter spring guide is available everywhere and online. So you can check that out. Excuse me. That's all I have.
Thank you, Ms.
For a voice.
Fire Department, Mr. Ritchie, do you have a report?
Yeah, like, we got 2 anniversaries. One is Brad Seward with 5 years. And we have one of our members that's got 50 years of dedicated service as of 1st of December, and that's Dick Muskovich.
Awesome job. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. Utilities Manager, Mr. Bassett, I believe is out, but Mr. Hurd.
Yes, Jay did give me his report. December 8th, New London Utilities received a call for sparking on 4 trees next to an electrical box. Crews responded and determined it was not electrical issues, but they did not find the cause of the sparking. December 9th, they received a call about an open utility box at 1914 Pershing. They determined that it was a phone pedestal, and they contacted the phone company to let them know of the issue. December 10th, had a call for no power at 1515 Oshkosh. They determined it was a main breaker in the house. Water crews are checking for service leaks and doing their regular testing of large meters. Electric crews started their tree trimming. And then he would like to recognize Kevin Schramm for 30 years of service this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hurd. Right, lastly. Clerk Ryerson.
Included in your packet, there are nominations or for appointments for election inspectors for the years of 2024 and 2025. We're required by state statute to appoint those inspectors, so.
We need a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to appoint the elections inspectors for January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Motion's been made by Mr. Dorsey, second by Mr. Barrington. Any further discussion?
I just have a quick question.
Yeah,
I noticed on the list, it says unaffiliated for all of them.
yeah.
Is that a requirement that you have to
Um,
disclose whether you're,
So it's not a requirement that they are affiliated. But I do have to consider the nominations by the major political parties. They have to get those in by November 30th. So there actually is one nomination from a political party. She's a high school student, so you'll see that there is an affiliated one on the high school election inspector side. So if the parties nominate them and that person wants to be affiliated, we do have to designate that, and then I would have to balance the number of affiliated workers at each polling place.
okay, I
So,
was just curious because I saw the one. and-
yeah, we just had, just, it happens to be that in the city of New London, the election inspectors have not chosen to consider themselves affiliated. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Harrison. Good question, Mr. Shea. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please cast your ballot. Mr. Dorsey. And that is 9 yes with 1 abstain. So that motion carries.
You will notice too that the nominations for the high school election inspectors have to be done by election rather than that 2-year term. So that's why those were a different, a different sheet, and where that's the first time we've been, or that we're going to use high school election inspectors. So you'll see some young people at the polls, and there's some different requirements for high school election inspectors. They have to have a certain GPA, they have to have parent permission, school permission, and they have to serve at their own polling place. So you'll see some young faces at the polls this season. They have to be 16 or 17. So there's also forms for candidates that are interested being listed on the spring 2024 ballot that are included in the packet and available at the clerk's office. Those are due back by 5 p.m. on Tuesday, January 2nd. Again, that's a Wisconsin state statute requirement. And then it's tax season. We've been collecting taxes in full force. So we just wanted to remind the public that the municipal offices are closed in observance of some holidays. And so we are closed on December 22nd. That's this Friday, December 25th, Monday, the December 29th, and January 1st. Otherwise, we'll be collecting tax payments during our normal hours, 7:30 to 4:30, Monday through Thursdays. And a reminder that we close at 11:30 on Friday afternoons or Friday mornings.
Thank you, Mr. Iverson. And the only thing we have left on the agenda is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Mr. Robert,
Second.
second by Mr. Hess. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned.